Welcome to Tell Me Your Story. New paradigms for a new world where we're giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. We are here 9 times a week. Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 a.m., and Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m., streaming live at all those times at richarddugan.com. We are on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, as well as YouTube, where you can watch these conversations. I hope that you will take time to subscribe and click notifications so that when a new conversation is posted, you'll be notified and you'll be able to tune in, listen in, and learn, be entertained and inspired. A reminder that Choices, which is my book, 5 Steps for Life, it's available on Amazon.com in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle with Audible, soon to be released. We also ask that if you can support the work that we are doing financially, we do have a PayPal account. It is there for your security as well as ours. And when they ask for an email address to whom you're sending, please go to richard@richarddugan.com. That's the email address. If you go to richarddugan.com, there is also a link directly to PayPal so that you can send us whatever support you can. And we thank you to those who have helped and to those who will help. We also ask that you take time during this decade of perfect vision, the 2020s, to go within to that quiet, peaceful, calm, still place and listen to that still, small voice. And with that, we now take you to our very special interview and guest here on Tell Me Your Story.
Once upon a time, in a bright kingdom, there lived a brave prince tiger named Tiber. He was a magnificent creature with bold stripes against his shiny orange fur. Tiber was strong and kind, always caring for those in need. By his side was his beautiful Princess Tala, a charming tiger. They loved each other sincerely and dreamed of a happy future filled with joy, laughter, and the soft purring of little cubs. They planned to marry as soon as Tiber returned from his journey to a distant jungle.
I will be back soon,
he promised Tala. He gently nuzzled her cheek.
I'll be waiting for you,
Tala whispered. But what they didn't know was that an evil magician skunk named Sorrel was jealous and spiteful. She watched their love from the shadows. Envious of the bond between these tigers, she came up with a wicked plan. As Tiber vanished into the thick jungle, Sorrel cast a dark spell on Princess Tala, turning her into an ugly coyote. Her once beautiful fur became a tangled mess. Her graceful body changed into something truly hideous. At the same time, the skunk took on Tala's beautiful body. She slipped into the castle and lived there, surrounded by guardians. Tala now had an old deformed body with messy fur and a wrinkled face. Tears spilled from her eyes. No big cries or wails came out, just sniffles that shook her whole body. It was a sad and lonely cry. But Tala knew she needed the fang of a wolf to break the curse. It was on a chain around Sorrel's neck. Unable to enter the castle, Tala needed just the right moment to act. Days turned into nights as Tala waited patiently. Finally, the day of the wedding arrived, bright and impressive, with the castle decorated in flowers and colorful lights. Tiber stood at the altar with his heart full of love. He was completely unaware of the secret evil hidden behind the face of his beloved. As the false princess glided through the garden, dressed in jewels and silk, Tala leaped out from the bushes. She tried to grab the fang from Sorrel's neck.
Tiber, it's me!
Her voice filled with desperation. Surprised by the sudden appearance of a coyote, Tiber reacted quickly and pulled his bow, aiming.
Stay back!
He shouted and shot an arrow at her. Tala ignored the pain from the arrow in her shoulder. Summoning all her strength, she reached for the chain and pulled it with all her might. The magic was instantly broken. The fake princess's graceful body twisted, and she became an angry skunk again. The ugly coyote returned to being a stunning tiger princess. Tiber couldn't believe his eyes. Shocked, he ran to Tala. They melted into each other's fur. Their hearts beat as one while a sense of safety and comfort surrounded them.
You fought for us, Tala. You were so brave.
Tiber said. His eyes sparkled with his admiration for her. Sorrel was banished from the jungle, her heart weighed down by the consequences of her actions. She realized that true love, with all its beauty, could never be damaged by jealousy and deceit. She learned to accept others' happiness and stop being evil. Tiber and Tala stood together, ready to embrace their future, knowing that love conquers all, even the darkest spells. The lesson: love wins, but jealousy and deceit can cause trouble. When faced with problems, trust in love and be honest. Always choose kindness over envy, because it leads to happiness.
And welcome to Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. I'm Richard Dugan, your host, and I thank you so much for being with us here on the program. Today's program is for folks of all ages, even though our guest's book is designed, mostly for kids, but I think adults as well. It's book number 10, A Touch of Love. The title of the book is actually Animal Fairy Tale. Subtitle is, of course, The Touch of Love. And Milana Anderson is our guest here on the program. Thank you so much for coming to us via Zoom all the way from Florida.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much for inviting. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Well, it's wonderful for you to take the time. I know how challenging it can be to basically talk about, and I myself, I'm a talker, so it doesn't bother me in the least. I could probably sit here and discuss a lot of what we are going to talk about for quite a while. One of the things that I love is the fact that you have this new fairy tale collection which shares magical lessons on love for primarily young readers, and this is a 10th in this series, correct?
Yes, it's a series of 10 books, so 177 short stories, and they all about animal stories.
But are these 10 volumes, as it were, are these your only writings, or do you have others that you have written maybe for young people, but maybe in general for adults as well?
No, not only for children.
This is it.
So far, yes.
Well, I want to find out a little bit more about this, because the thing I love is the fact that you use animals as your characters.
Yes.
And I love that. I love watching the various, I call them cartoons, featuring animals and so forth. And there's something about that somehow makes it more impactful than using humanoid or human type characters. Is that what you find?
Yes, it was my goal. I use the animals. I wanted to make children to see them in those roles of the characters. And I was thinking if I would use kids as my characters, so my young readers, they would think this is the story about other kids. But my goal was to make them to be in the character's shoes, to see the world through their eyes, to feel their feelings, right? So, and I thought it's the best way to use animals in human-like situations.
You have other other books, obviously 10 total. This is number 10. You have others that focus on the touch of adventure, of joy, of gratitude. That's one seems to me that really is needed today, especially the one about gratitude, in terms of not complaining about where we are, but being grateful for that we are here, that we're still alive, and so forth. Is that the kind of message that you're wanting to get across, especially when it talks about gratitude? That
Yes, to me it was important for kids to be grateful to their parents who taking care about them, who loves them, to be grateful for their home, for their health, for their school, neighbors, everything what is around us, to be grateful for, because there is always something good and inspiring and learning and to appreciate much.
Well, folks can go to Amazon.com and get a copy. They can also find out more about the entire 10-book series, Animal Fairy Tales, and we hope that you will go there. We will do our best to lead people in that direction. And you are an author of, in this instance, these 10 different books. You have 177 animal fairy tales. Now, it seems to me that these books would probably not do well in an audible format, only because you have some beautiful, beautiful illustrations in there. Talk to us about the combination thereof.
Combination of images.
The illustrations that go along with the text, the content.
Yeah. Yes. So to create that illustrations, I was using that assistance, AI assistance. So it's art software, and also I hired two amazing illustrators, so they helped me to create those images. So my goal was to express the emotions of my characters, to show their joy, fear, or surprising feelings. So, but since the books are the collections, so for each story, I created only about 2-3 images for each story.
And they're marvelous illustrations, I do have to say. Be very difficult to sit and try to describe them and then go back and read the text as far as Audible is concerned. And besides, wouldn't it be better if mom and dad, or even grandma or grandpa, were to read to the kids from these books? I just think that would be a marvelous thing. I want to ask you about how you came up with this idea of this series of books, Animal Fairy Tales. Where did that come from for you?
First of all, at the very, very beginning, I started to make up these stories for my son when he was so little. Yeah. So I was creating those stories for him for every evening, to tell him those stories, but I never written them down. I started to write them to publish only 2 years ago. And
wow.
Yeah.
And in 2 years, you wrote 10 books.
Yes. 2 years were very productive. It's the feeling when you feel like your piece of puzzle is not in the place. And finally at my 50, I figured it out and decided, okay, I have to do what I really want to do. Because I was a lawyer entire my life, and I liked my job and what I was doing, but always I felt something is missing. Something is not mine. I want to do what I really want to do. So I discovered my passion only at 50s, when started to write them.
Oh, wow. And you are, if I'm reading correctly, you are a native of Siberia?
Yes, yes.
I've not heard a lot of good things coming out of Siberia until
Yeah.
now.
Very cold.
That's what I understand. And it's not a place that you want to be sent to, especially during the Cold War.
Yeah.
But how long ago did you leave Siberia?
Oh, I moved from Siberia 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Around 2006 or so, 2005. Wow.
Yes, and my son was born in Siberia.
Hmm. And what was the reason for leaving 20 years ago? You just wanted a warmer place?
At first, it was just my career. I got a job in Moscow, so I moved to Moscow first. And then I met people, my friends, they offered me a job here in New York. So I decided to try. And 2 years ago, I quit my job at the United Nations agency. So now I'm writing the books.
It's an interesting transition, isn't it?
Yes.
Going from having a master's in chemistry and biology and doing the work you were doing to writing children's books. And I'm going to guess it's probably a lot more satisfying today, isn't it?
Yes, I'm enjoying because I feel like I returned to myself. Finally, I'm doing what I wanted to do, but I never was brave enough, to step into it. But once I open those gates, I feel amazing. It's just only one regret, like I wasted so much time in my life. Why I didn't start it earlier, many years ago.
There's something about the universe and timing that I think is really important. And of course, your particular book, this particular one is the most recently published, available obviously through Amazon. We certainly hope folks will go and pick up a copy of the book. And again, it is of course in the Animal Fairy Tale series, book 10, Touch of Love. Let's talk a little bit. Are there others? Is there going to be 11, 12, 13, 14, and so forth? Because you'll be talking or dealing with and so forth other topics in this series in this regard. I mean, you've already covered a lot of ground, as it were.
Yes. So we're talking about book 10, right? You said
we're talking about book 10.
Yeah.
But do you have other books in the series coming up in addition to the others that you have?
In addition, yes, I have two. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Two big projects I have.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them is I'm so excited to talk about it because it's a full-length animated movie.
Really?
It's for children and adults. So it's good. The title is gonna be "Where Was I While I Was Me?" Where was I while I was me? So this is the family drama, philosophical. It's about basically it's about letting go your illusions and returning to your true self.
Now I'm curious, and I want to talk about this as we continue about that particular aspect of what seems to permeate America in particular in many quarters, only because it's part of my life, my background, and so forth, in terms of not only trying to find out who I am, but also trying to find out what it is that I should be about. What is my life's purpose, as it were? And I want to talk to you about that more. Milana Anderson is our guest, and it is the Animal Fairy Tale series, book 10. It is the Touch of... I've got it right in front of me. Here it is, the Touch of Love. I had that in my head, and I don't know why I didn't say it. And we'll continue here with yours truly, Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan, here on Tell Me Your Story. We're talking here on the program about love, the touch of love. It is the 10th book in the series of animal fairy tales. Love that concept. It obviously reminds me of a lot of the fairy tales I grew up with, Aesop's fables in particular, but of course they had a lot of human characters as well as animal. And I'm curious about this aspect that you just talked about in terms of this movie that is coming out, this more philosophical, if you will, in the United States. When I was a kid growing up, I never thought about it too much, but it wasn't until the late 70s, early 80s when I started going to personal growth programs, and I started reading books in the genre of what was then called self-help. Today it's called, personal growth, personal transformation, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm wondering if there was much of that back in Siberia 20 years ago, where you were living, because obviously you had it in you. You had this awareness of what you wanted, because you wanted to know who you were and where you were supposed to be in this world. Is that something that most, I don't know if I want to use the term Russians or Siberians, in that part of the world where it doesn't seem as though the population has very much to think about other than, in one sense, just surviving, getting from day to day.
Yes, I always was looking for myself. It's constantly, entire my life, it was a personal quest.
Mm-hmm.
What is my passion? Where I'm good at? What I would like to do for the rest of my life? And finally, what is my mission?
Yeah.
Just what to do. So I was changing the colleges. I graduated nursing courses first. I was a nurse. And then the master's degree in chemistry biology, I tried to teach. I was a teacher in a high school and then in a law school. And then I was a lawyer, working for federal courts and so on. But still never was satisfied who I am. And then I moved from city to city, and then from one country to another country. And then finally, I somehow discovered, like, I would like to write. I was always pushing it away. You know how when we are kids, we're always trying to fulfill someone's expectations.
Yeah.
I think it's a family things or cultural things. I don't know if it's different for everyone, but we always will. When you don't know for sure who you want to be, who you are, you always listening successful people, right? Your parents, who you respect, and so you follow their dreams, you follow their advices, but you're not truly listening your inner voice. And also we are looking what is good at this time in a society. For me, for example, it was all lawyers, they are doing good. And I should be a lawyer. So I went to the law school, and we constantly betraying ourselves. That's how I feel. That's how this idea was born about this movie. Do not betray yourself.
That's an interesting word to use. I have not heard people use that before. We certainly have come up with phrases, and we sabotage ourselves. Same kind of thing.
Correct.
But I like that phrase better, that we betray ourselves. We know what it is that we want to do, but we walk away from it. And of course, in this country, I'm sure you've heard the fact that there are families that they want their kids to grow up to be doctors and lawyers and so on and so forth, where the money is, rather than where the heart is. That's what you're talking about, isn't it? Finding out where your heart is.
Yes, there is always something, a lot of doubts in yourself, doubts in your financial opportunities, right? A lot of doubts.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're pushing ourselves back.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, even when I started to write the fairy tales, my parents told me, like, since when you are a writer? What are you doing? Isn't it too late? And especially when I quit my job just to write, they couldn't understand what are you doing?
Mm. May
Mhm.
I ask, are your parents still around? Are they still alive
Yes,
and living in Siberia?
yes, in
Hmm.
Moscow. Mhm.
Oh, in Moscow. Okay.
Yeah, but my
Now,
son and my husband, they supported me a lot. So I think if they wouldn't support me, I think I still would be working in UN doing my office job.
interesting. I just out of curiosity, what was your job in the UN?
I was a HR specialist hiring people for United Nations.
Oh, wow. I can only imagine what kind of a process that is in terms of the vetting process, processing people through and making sure that no, not just that they're qualified, but are these people, are they safe to hire and put in these positions, especially in the United Nations and especially with all the stuff that's going on in the world today. It's just it's crazy. But again, I know that was 20 years ago. Let's talk a little bit about your background and your upbringing philosophically. I was born and raised Catholic, Roman Catholic, in that particular area. I was fortunate when I was 23, when I married my first wife. She was a member of her family, going back a number of generations, a member of the Byzantine Rite of the Catholic Church. And I have to tell you, I absolutely loved that aspect of it. There's something about or the ritual, the tradition, the ceremony that we in America we don't hold on to. You know, I've heard this statement that, well, all of these immigrants that are coming here, they're destroying our culture. And I'm going, no, you are destroying your culture by accusing somebody else. And in other words, playing the victim. There are no victims here. So I love that aspect. And many of the other philosophies that I have studied over the years, and I'm now 65, have their own rituals and ceremonies and traditions that are so wonderful. And of course, here we are in the latter part of 2025, and we're heading into a series here in America of holidays that may or may not have certain traditions and or rituals or ceremonies, and so forth. And then there are other families that it is steeped in all of these things that these are the things that we do around this time of the year to commemorate, to celebrate, to remember, years gone by and people who were in our lives in those gone by years, if you will. What about your upbringing, not specifically about the end of the year holidays, but just in terms of your own personal faith and philosophy?
Mhm. The most important thing to me is the family.
Hmm.
And so the readers can see through all my fairy tales, it's going like a message. Because most of them are family oriented, friends oriented, career oriented, and a healthy way of life.
Hmm.
So that's what I wanted to express through my stories. Yes, family it's important moment for me, and but also I'm the person who was living for my family, and only now I started to realize, but maybe it's not, very right thing to do. We have to live for ourselves.
Yeah.
To follow our dreams, to make ourselves satisfied. Oh, it's a 50-50. Now I'm split. I'm trying to to live for myself and for my family.
Do you now I'm sure that with your immediate family, your husband and children, you have shared these thoughts and feelings that Milana needs to be Milana and needs to find Milana's path, right? Not that I'm going to ignore you, husband, and you, children. I will still be I'll still be wife and mother, but I also need to be me.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was that something that they were immediately open to, or was something that you had to kind of work into slowly and explain it to them, and then also tell them, and you need to find you?
Yes, my son first. He said, "You have to do what you want to do, what you're comfortable with, because if you don't feel comfortable at your job, just quit." It was his advice. He's 32 years old now, and he's sometimes much smarter than me, wiser. No, you know what it was holding us back, because we have a lot of responsibilities. We have bills to pay, we have mortgage to pay, right? And so I wasn't sure how it's going to work out just to quit my job. It's easy to think, but it's not easy to get it done.
Yeah.
And then so my husband supported me. He's a writer as well, but for adults. And my husband told me, don't worry, we are all together, don't worry about bills and so on, just follow your wish, what you want to do, just give it a try.
Yeah.
And so that's how I quit and started. Yeah.
Were you raised in a church environment, if you will, with faith in God and and the reading of the Bible and those kinds of things? What was your shall we say, religion? I like to use the word philosophy, but be that as it may, how were you raised?
I was born in a Buddhist family.
Really? I realize I'm very surprised at that, but that's fascinating. Buddhist. Please continue.
Yeah, Buddhist. So I was raised in Buddhist family, and I was following those traditions to go to temple, to pray. But I have to say, recently, maybe about 5 years ago, I started to believe in my own believing system. I feel like that my God is inside of me, so I don't need to go to any temple. The temple is in my heart. It should be inside in my soul. So, and I feel more comfortable about that right now.
Wow. I was reading a press release by an author who I've had on this program once before, and I'm going to have him on again to talk about this particular aspect, and that is that there was a survey that was done here in this country, and that fewer and fewer people are participating in, let me rephrase it. The headline of the survey was that pagans outnumber Presbyterians in the United States. And it's primarily because people are becoming disillusioned. They are becoming, I'll use my parents as an example. I interviewed them on this program 10 years ago. And in that interview, they stated that they no longer participate in organized religion because they are disillusioned by what the people at the top, have done over the decades. I worked for a Christian station for 15 years in the 80s and early 90s. And, I know how important community is, how important it is to gather together for any reason, for that matter. And yet at the same time, I'm sitting here going, I am not surprised that survey has come out the way it has, because the faith that is being expressed in the media, if you will, social and otherwise, in my opinion, and bear in mind, when I share something, it's mine, and if somebody takes it on, then that's on them. I didn't ask you to take it. I'm not surprised that there are fewer and fewer people going to churches and maybe temples and so on and so forth. Because the people who run it, their egos get carried away and they start doing stuff that was never intended to be a part. That's one of the reasons I do love Zen Buddhism, and I used to be a member of the Baha'i faith, and I've studied Judaism and Hinduism. I'm studying the Muslim faith these days. I really enjoy talking with rabbis of the Jewish faith and so forth, and gleaning incredible things from them. You were born and raised Buddhist, but now you have created, if you will, your own personal brand of faith and belief, right?
Not personal.
I mean, it's what you've chosen, and that's, you believe it, and that's all that matters. You don't have to justify it to anybody else, right?
That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
The temple has to be in your heart,
Yes.
inside of you, and keep it clean and clear.
And that is true. That is true. I don't know about you. While working for that station, I was challenged. I was told that I wasn't saved and ready to meet God because I didn't follow the precepts, the doctrine and the dogma. And yet there's something about, for example, as I said earlier, the rituals, tradition, and so forth within the Catholic Church, whether it be the Eastern or Western side, the parts of it. Many people used to say, "Oh, so you're Greek Orthodox?" Because when I was going to the Byzantine Church, I said, "No, no, no. The Byzantine Rite is from a place that you may or may never have heard of before called Constantinople. Have you heard of that before?" And it's still under the Pope. It's still under the Vatican and so forth. And yet there are a lot of people who, they're looking and trying to find their own way. When you are talking with people, I'm sure that you have conversations, maybe not to this depth per se, and they share with you that they're searching too. What do you share with them? Because I know how you're talking to the kids, because we've got these 10 books called the Animal Fairy Tales, and that's how you're sharing who you are through these stories. But when you're talking with adults in particular, people that you've known for a while, and they share their own philosophical insecurities, do you have those kinds of conversations? And if so, what do you say? How do you converse?
No, I'm not the good advisor. With my friends, when we're talking, all of them, I would say 80% of them, they don't like what they're doing now. Three of them for sure, they hate their job, which they're doing, but
Wow.
they cannot leave it because, as I said, we all have bills and responsibilities and kids to pay for everything. So they're so afraid to step out of it because they're not sure if it will work out, what they really would like to do, or they are too scared to get a loan to open their own business,
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell people like, "Oh, do it, look at me." No, they have to come to that by themselves.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, I can say only one thing. It means it's just no time. Your time will come, maybe later.
Right.
Yeah, so because they're not just ready to do it, it means it's not good timing so far.
We are talking with Milana Anderson and her book series, 10 books now, The Animal Fairy Tales, Book 10, which is Touch of Love, as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. Milana Anderson is my guest. Milana, beautiful books, beautiful work that you have put together, and the collaboration between you and your illustrators, and I guess AI of some sort, or an algorithm of some sort to create these beautiful illustrations. I want to ask, being that you come from a part of the world that, and I will say, even as a teenager and a young adult, as I started to hear about the USSR specifically, and I thought, I hear what the governments are doing, but I'm not hearing an awful lot about the people. Like we in this country, we like to use the phrase "we the people" from our founding documents. And it's we the people who are really what make this country what it is, not the government. And eventually I saw reporters and journalists going to the USSR and interviewing families who were willing to talk, because in a lot of cases they weren't. But there was this one barrier they had difficulty getting through unless they had a translator, and that was language. What about your transition, especially to America, but also to these other countries that you've lived in? How have you been able to traverse that bridge, so to speak, from, and I'm only guessing, Russian or a dialect. I was taught a few words of Russian or the Slavonic language. One that I always remember around Easter time, that we would say when you would greet someone at the church, Christos voskres, vojustenos voskres was the response. Christ is risen, indeed he is risen. What about the challenges that you faced as far as language? Or maybe I am incorrect in that you didn't learn as a child English and all of these other languages, or maybe you did.
No, I didn't. When I was invited to come here to try to work as an assistant of paralegal, it was only for Russian community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my English was so just for the very beginners, so very simple. It was difficult, but it took me a year to start to talk, like without a fear. Every time when I needed to respond to say something in English, I was like shrinking, because always was scared to say something wrong or use the wrong word. Yeah, and then I met my husband here. He's American, so with him my English improved quickly. But still, I'm still struggling. Even after 7 years with him. Yeah, and I'm still struggling, but I would like to write only in English.
Well, first of all, I compliment you on your English. I have no problem understanding what you're saying, so I think you have arrived. Although, again, even I am still learning, and I love learning new words. I have to host a program on these pop-up shops, if you will, these farm to table type of places. Why am I not? I can't think of the name of these places. We've got them up here on the mountain, in the mountains where I live. They have them in Santa Barbara. Farmers markets. Thank you very much, universe. Farmers markets. And one of the words I love using in the program when we're talking about certain vegetables is cruciferous. I love the word cruciferous. It just sounds really cool. But it describes a particular kind of a vegetable, a type of green. When you are, is there a process that you are still using today to help to expand your vocabulary from, I'm just going to throw this out there, from say the 4,000 or 5,000 words that you do know, that you can and do understand and so forth, to maybe 10 or 20 or 30,000 words somewhere down the road? Because there was a time when specifically the English-speaking countries had a vocabulary that large. But today it's like acronyms, LOL and LKN for let me know, or LMK for let me know. I can't even get the acronyms right. But what about the expansion of your own personal vocabulary? Is that something that you are constantly working on because you want to be able to converse in other areas as well?
Absolutely, yeah. The best way, as I realized when I started to learn English here, the best way is reading. Reading, and then listening, and then talking.
And to that end, are your books available in the recorded or audible format?
No, only ebooks, but not audio. And so I'm reading my husband's books a lot because he's a writer, as I said, and yeah, constantly reading. It's improving my grammar skills and more sophisticated words.
Mm.
Mhm.
I know that there are a lot of people that would not understand some of the more, we call them $15 or $20 words, multi-syllable words, that kind of thing. The more syllables in it, the more difficult it is to say and then to define for some folks. And I understand that. But it seems to me so important whether you are from another country or whether you're an American who, was born and raised here and does not have a Russian or Siberian accent, expanding our vocabulary. I mean, it takes me a little while, for example, and this is a little different, I suppose, to listen to or read and understand what Shakespeare was saying
Oh
in,
yeah,
in
yeah.
that form of English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's fascinating in that regard. And what about translating? Now, obviously, that was something that you probably can do now because you have the English and you know the Russian words for that. And I was told when I was with my first wife and her family that there were certain words that didn't even exist in the Russian language and that they only had one word that would translate into the word machine because they didn't have words for, I don't know, for washing machine, dryer, dishwasher, car, those kinds of things. And I don't know if that's absolutely accurate. And so they only had one word to describe all of these things that, we have a word for in English. Is that true, or was that true at one time?
Yes, absolutely, in every language. So my first language is Buryat. It's a Siberian nationality minors, yeah, Buryat people. So it was my first language, and second was Russian.
Hmm.
Buryat is, I would like it similar to Mongolian.
Oh, wow.
Mhm. So because when I was visiting Mongolia a few times, I was speaking in my language in Buryat, and they could understand me
Hmm.
because a lot of similar words, and I was able to understand them.
Interesting. I'm curious about all of these different aspects, and another one has to do with history. Not just your history as far as your family, you growing up and so forth, but the history of that part of the world that all I vaguely remember from my history classes in grade school and high school is that there was a place called Siberia. The rest of that information came from the news about how you had the gulags in Siberia. If you did bad, you were sent to Siberia where it's really, really cold
Yeah.
and life is hard and on and on and on. I mean, that was not a place that would be like sending someone to a place like Alcatraz, here in the United States or some other place, Guantanamo Bay and what have you, although you don't have the cold temperatures. But that's always been not a sore spot for me, but it's like I feel, at least informationally, a little less than because I don't really have the kind of information about those parts of the world because in many cases that kind of information was not something that was like disseminated. That wasn't information that they wanted to get out, number one. And so you didn't get to learn about, 1,000 or 5,000 years ago in those parts of the world and what the people were doing and how they lived and so forth. Can you share with us a little bit, not so much of the history at all, but
Mhm.
just in terms of that particular dynamic? Is that true of what you knew of other parts of the world growing up in Siberia?
The Buryat people, they used to live in Mongolia originally. So they were one of tribes, Mongolian tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And when Genghis Khan was merging all those tribes to become one, that particular Buryat tribe, they refused. So that's how they ended up in Russia.
Mm.
So they ran away from Mongolia.
there seems to be a lot of that down through history. I mean, the Americas was created by a bunch of people who were, at least from the history that we currently have, were running away from a king who they did not care for and his rules, and so they said, "Bye bye, we're we're going to the new world, and we're going to start over." And I know this happens in a lot of other places. One of the few countries where that didn't happen was a country that I love. I've only been there twice, is Ireland, where other people would come there trying to subjugate the Irish. And to date, no one has succeeded. Some would say, well, the British did because they got Northern Ireland. Yeah, well, okay, but that's like 1/5 of the island. The other 4/5 belongs to the Republic of Ireland and the people. So that seems to be a rather interesting dichotomy that, or that we're as a people, different nationalities, different races of humans. When they're being oppressed and so forth, they say, well, we can either stay here and be oppressed or we can go somewhere else. And it seems as though we're running out of places that we can run to.
In my opinion, if you don't like to live somewhere, just change it. It's the same as with our home, right? If we don't like our house, we just move. If we don't like school, we just change it.
Yeah.
It's because everything is built up on love feelings, right?
Yeah.
So we have to love where we are, what we are, who we are, what we're doing. If you don't love it, just change it.
Yeah. Now, how many places in the U.S. have you lived? Because you had mentioned before we started that you moved from D.C. to Florida.
Yes. I moved first in New York, and then I got married. I met my husband, and then I got a job in the UN in New York. And then the UN decided, my agency decided to move our main office to Washington, D.C. So that's why we moved there, following my job. We loved it there. It's a beautiful city also.
Have you had an opportunity to travel and visit other parts of the States?
Yes. We are. But Florida is the state where my husband was born. So he wanted to come back here to be closer to his parents, to help them around.
Do you have any plans on bringing your other family members, your parents in particular, back to the States with you?
No. They're comfortable where they are.
I was just going to ask that next question. Yeah. And that's important for us all. We all need to find a place where we feel comfortable. And obviously you with your family where you are in Florida feel comfortable. So much so, ladies and gentlemen, that she's written 10 books. That's right. It's a 10-book series, the Animal Fairy Tales. And the current book, which is book 10, is Touch of Love. I would like to talk a little bit more as we continue here about the movie. I'm fascinated by the fact that there's going to be a movie that's going to be coming out, I hope soon, so we can see it. But we'll talk about that as we continue talking with Milana Anderson here on Tell Me Your Story. I am Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan, and she is Milana Anderson, and she is the author of a 10-book series called Animal Fairy Tales. And it's very exciting, but I wanted to touch more on this movie that you were talking about earlier. First of all, give us that title again.
The title is going to be Where Was I While I Was Me?
Where was I while I was me? And where in the process are you in this creation of this movie, the production, in terms of when it's going to be released?
I'm still working on the script, and right now I'm currently looking for an entertainment agent. So to represent me, and so we can offer it to animated studios. And it's hopefully next year it should be available for everyone. Oh, and also I'm creating the game for kids. which is gonna called Collect Yourself.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So aside from the 10 books and the movie and the game, you got nothing going on. Nothing's happening in your life. Tell us
I
about the
told,
game.
I
Tell us
told
about
you
the
I finally returned to myself.
Yes, you did. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Tell us about the game. How is this game played?
Yes, the game is called Collect Yourself. It's for kids of different age. So I'm going to create different sets of game for different age groups, even for parents and teachers, so they can do it too. So it's going to be kind of basically psychological game. So the kids, they will have to gather themselves using different elements based on their inner states. So for example, collect who I am right now, and they will collect how they feel. If they feeling happy, they will take the element which is called happiness or joy, or element which will called silence or emptiness. Or if I'm angry a little bit, there is like element as it's made of stone. It's gonna be like cold and heavy. It's the angry, right? I'm angry or I'm upset. So, and they will collect and then they can ruin it and recollect again because inner state is constantly changing. So it's supposed to help kids to constantly return to themselves, what they feel, to express themselves, what is their inner state. So in my mind, in my opinion, this game would help them to not forget themselves, to not betray themselves. It would be helpful.
There's a term when one puts oneself down, and it's called it's called self-deprecating. That's another word, another wonderful word. I had a gentleman I worked with many years ago, and he after his on-air shift, he would go into the studio to record the news.
Mhm.
And I am now in the studio, and I'm producing a ball game. But all of a sudden, I'm hearing this yelling and carrying on from the studio where he's at, where he is just saying the most awful, vile things about himself when he makes a mistake. And I thought,
Oh.
whoa, calm down. I didn't go in there and say anything, but it's like, calm down, dude. You can erase that and start over. It's not a big deal, you know. And I find that interesting. And sometimes we hear that. Sometimes when we're just walking in the stores or along the streets and so forth, and we'll hear people, sometimes they're talking to themselves, or maybe they're on the phone talking to someone about themselves, they're describing something, and then they'll just put themselves down. And I just think,
Yes,
wow, come on.
mhm.
Is that,
That's why. Oh, I'm sorry.
well, I was just going to say, is that something that you were aware of, even living in Siberia?
Yeah, so people are the same.
Yeah, same everywhere.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So that's why in my fairy tales, I'm trying to let them know, to explain, like it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's okay to be different.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help. Especially, it's okay to be afraid.
Yeah.
And yeah, every fairy tale is exploring this and explaining how it's fine to feel that everyone feels and everyone makes mistakes and how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And this game has to teach them to love themselves, to love and respect themselves. When you learn how you love and respect yourselves, you will love and respect others, and others will bring you back love and respect. That's how I see it works, it's a circle.
Yeah. There's a certain irony in your living in Florida, because the governor of Florida and many others have this mindset that they're trying to do away with this concept. I say it a concept of being woke. You've probably heard the term. And it has to do more with what you are talking about getting in touch with who we are and following our dreams. It's not ignoring the intellect and the logical processes of thinking, but it's been labeled as something that we've got to get rid of because, it's this and it's that and it's these other things. And the reality is that we seem to go so far one way, then we swing back the other way. And hopefully many of us wind up somewhere in the middle where we've got a nice balance between the two aspects. And hopefully a nice balance within ourselves as to how we see ourselves and how we see ourselves in the world. And that's what your books are trying to convey, aren't they?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, this is fascinating, and I'm excited about the fact that these books are going to be available. They are available through Amazon. Milana Anderson, Animal Fairy Tales, and book 10 is Touch of Love as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. It's a fascinating conversation to have with someone who is working to help the young people. There's a I think it's the 60s or 70s song, and the lyrics are along the lines of, the children must be taught. They must be carefully taught. And that is absolutely true. There's a biblical Old Testament passage that says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. And it's sort of a double-edged sword. Obviously, on the face, train a child up in the way that he should go, or she. And then take a look at them as an adult and guess why they are the way they are. And then you see the adults and their behavior and the way that they do things, and you can see how they were trained as children. I was bullied as a kid in school, but I learned early on, after I got out of grade school, that they weren't born bullies. They were taught. So in essence, I began to understand that, and I began to cut them some slack and say, hey, in one sense, it's not their fault because this is how they were taught. This is how they were trained by their parents and other family members. Okay, so I'm the brunt of what they're doing. But I did real well in track and field. I learned to run fast. So I love what you are trying to share and teach our children through these books. And I am so grateful and thankful that you are a part of what we are doing here on Tell Me Your Story. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It was enjoyable.
And by the way, just so you know, yes, it has been an hour. And it's gone by pretty fast, hasn't it?
Yes, you're right.
By the way,
Look at much now. Yes, it's been an hour.
I do have 3 final questions that I ask all of my guests, and I'm going to ask those of you as well. But first, I want to thank you for listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World, where we're giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 a.m., and Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m., streaming live at all those times at richarddugan.com. We are on podcasts of SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and we are on YouTube, where you can watch these conversations. I hope that you will subscribe, and I hope that you will click notification. I also hope that you'll pick up a copy of my book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life. It's available on Amazon, along with Milana's book, the Animal Fairy Tales. But you can get a copy of Choices at Amazon, and you can also leave us a tip. Yes, we have a tip jar. I don't play the piano, but PayPal is our tip jar. We would be grateful for anything that you can support us with. If you go to the homepage of richarddugan.com, you will see links to Amazon and to PayPal. And finally, we hope that you will take the time during the Decade of Perfect Vision, to go within to that quiet, peaceful, calm, still place and listen to that still, small voice. And with all that being said, we move on to our final 3 questions for a very special guest. And the first of those 3 is, Who is Milana Anderson?
Now I can tell I'm the author of Animal Fairy Tales and that movie, and I'm gonna create the game.
Mm.
I found my passion. This is my passion, and it's my dedication right now
What get,
to
Go ahead.
help kids to embrace the to admire professions, right? And then which I'm writing about different professions in my fairy tales. So I want them to love and respect and admire police officers, doctors, engineers, designers, pilots, and also to feel the thrill of sport activities like ice skating and swimming, dancing. So I would love them to find inspiration at least in one of those stories and find the joyful moments and find the way to themselves.
Wonderful. What gets you up in the morning?
Yes, I feel so grateful to those contests, which I've got 2 gold medals from the book contests. One of them was for children books, animal fairy tales, another one for my activity book. So that recognition made me feel I'm on the right way and I have to continue. So every morning when I wake up, I'm thinking, what I'm gonna create today? what I'm gonna make something very valuable and useful for children.
Wonderful.
So
A
I
final
have
Go ahead.
more projects. Yeah.
All right. And our final question here is, what was your best day?
My best day, I always saying when my son was born, it was my best day. I'm so proud of my son. He's the best what happened for me, with me in my life.
Well, wonderful. And we thank you again for being a part of the work that we're doing here. And we hope to catch up with you again down the road when the movie is released. And then, of course, again, when the game is released. And thank you again for being a part of the work that we're doing here, trying to change the world. Even if it is one person at a time, that's what it takes. And we thank you for being a part of what we're doing here, folks, on Tell Me Your Story. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to all. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for letting me be in your life and you being in mine. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.